There are times when you'll measure two variables upon each individual item under investigation. How you report upon pairs of variables depends upon their types. You may have two categorical variables, or two numerical variables, or one of each type. Is there a relationship between suffering from tonsillitis and snoring? A study into this measured two categorical variables across 50 children, where one variable is tonsillitis with possible responses yes or no, and the other variable is snore, with possible responses yes or no. So for each child, we have information on whether or not they snore and whether or not they have suffered tonsillitis. Here are the data for the first 10 children in the study. Each row represents a child. As the two variables are categorical, you can consider cross-tabulations. There are 17 children who responded no to tonsillitis and no to snoring. 3 children responded no to tonsillitis and yes to snoring. Clustered bar charts help to visually assess if the response to tonsillitis, yes or no, is associated with snoring or not. Of all those who responded as not having suffered tonsillitis, almost all also indicated they don't snore. Of all those who responded as having suffered tonsillitis, did almost all indicate they don't snore too? No. The responses are equally shared between snoring and not snoring. So it depends upon the response to tonsillitis as to how people responded about snoring. This indicates there is a relationship or association between tonsillitis and snoring. Distribution of snoring responses differs depending on the response to tonsillitis. What about when we have two numerical variables? For example, the amount of a catalyst used in grams and reaction time measured across multiple experiments. Is the amount of the catalyst used, which is measured in grams, associated with the reaction time? The experiment was repeated and also with varying amounts of catalyst to produce the following results from 21 experiments. We have 21 pairs of values for the two variables, catalyst amount and reaction time. Can you see a relationship between the two variables? What if we plot the data? We may use a scatter plot to do so. We plot each pair of values by a single point on this graph. Repeating for all points, we get our final graph, and we can see that generally, as the catalyst amount increases, the reaction time decreases. What about when we have one numerical variable and one categorical variable? Perhaps an engineer wants to test the efficiency, the numerical variable, of his newly designed mechanical device against the current device. The categorical variable would identify the device tested as either the current one or new one. Or perhaps a chemist or chemical engineer has designed a new epoxy resin and wishes to compare the pull-off force, that would be the numerical variable, of two groups of epoxy resin. A categorical variable represents whether resin is the current one or newly designed one. Consider the situation of a randomized controlled trial, where a sample of people from the population with a disease are randomly allocated to one of two groups. The first group receives a new medication, whilst the other group uses an existing treatment. After a period of time, all individuals across both groups are tested and a measurement recorded indicating percentage improvement. That's the numerical variable. The categorical variable is group, with responses, treatment, if receiving the new medication, or control, if only the existing treatment is received. We could consider vertically aligned histograms. We compare these using the 3 S's, shape, center, and spread. They are both approximately bell-shaped or normal. The group corresponding to the new medication has a higher mean percentage improvement than the group undergoing the treatment. The group corresponding to the new medication has a higher variation in percentage improvement than the group undergoing the current treatment, and we can consider the means and standard deviations. The methods shown have been exploratory or descriptive analyses. We can also perform formal tests and use statistical models for each situation, as described in further videos in this series.